Welcome to Amateur Opinions, the podcast. I've got Tappy back in the building. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming back, man. Appreciate it.
No
So last time we spoke about, a bunch of stuff. But this week, so you mentioned that you were plugging your Instagrams. So you have one called Tappy, and you have another one called Sunga Konji. So you touched a bit on, we've spoken at length about Tappy, but we haven't really spoken about your other Instagram account, which is Sunga Konji, which stands for?
Sunga means tie, and then Konji means rope, but like really thick rope. So
thick rope.
Yeah.
So what's the rope?
Yeah.
What's the thick rope usually used for? Like typically speaking.
So in this context, it's a rope for use in rope bondage, right? Which some people may or may not know. I don't like classifying it that way, but it's classified as part of BDSM.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the bondage. The B is for bondage.
Oh,
right?
really?
So
okay.
you can do bondage with chains or with rope or with cuffs,
Yes.
silk scarves, whatever,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I just happen to really like rope.
Okay.
So for artistic reasons, and a bunch of other reasons as well, like body positivity, because I often organize photo shoots for people, and also ideas around intimacy and what platonic intimacy can look like, and also like desexualizing naked bodies or removing sex from intimacy, right? Because often people think the biggest question I always get from people is like, are you having sex with all these people, right? And I'm actually, for the most part, no, right? Unless I already had sex with the person before and we happen to be doing a photo shoot together, then I'm having sex with that person.
Yeah.
But usually the people I collaborate with either are queer women, and queer to the point where they don't really have sex with men in general, in any case.
Right.
So that's never a thing, right? And
they feel comfortable in the situation too.
Yeah, that's part of it. Is it wasn't an active choice, but it started becoming a more important aspect of the work. Is realizing a lot of black queer women, especially in South African context, are victims of violence at the hands of a black man, particularly someone who at face value appears to be a straight black man, right? And so it then partly turned into this thing where it was a proper effort to try and address some of the violence around intimacy they associate with a black man, right? So it's not sexual intimacy, but it's can be a sensual intimacy and quite a vulnerable intimacy to share with quote unquote the perpetrator of violence against black women. So I symbolize something to that kind of person.
Okay.
And for them to trust me and be vulnerable in that space is quite something amazing. And it doesn't fix a problem really, but it can help an individual out confronting some of their past traumas and issues with men. And
what was your first experience with rope? Like, how did you decide to like have this as you called it a hobby? Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a hobby.
Okay.
So that's why I was having issues with the whole BDSM classification. Because for me, it started up when I was a teenager. When you're going through a sexual development.
Yeah.
I used to make like bracelets and stuff from like plastic bags. Like I would make rope from plastic bags and like weave stuff and like braid stuff. And at some point, I don't know when really, I did something. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice, right? And I remember there's a shift from it being a thing I just did by the veranda, Wanachita, whatever, people doing whatever, right? To something I now did in private to create a pleasurable effect on my body.
Yeah.
Right. Then I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. But at that age, especially depending on when you grow up as well, sex is a bad vibe.
Right.
You should not be exploring anything of that sort.
Not when you're a teenager, especially.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So then I completely removed myself from that experience, and I became quite secretive about it, and in turn, all the other sexual things as well became quite secretive. Until much later on in my adult life, I was post 25 years of age, and I realized actually there are other people in the world doing this, right? And I was like, oh wow, okay, that's interesting. I thought I was like the solo freak, right?
Yeah.
But actually, people are doing it all the time in very different contexts for different reasons, right? And that ties into why I don't like using things like fetish, kink, and other terms like that because they make a point of saying this is normal sex and what you're doing some deviant shit. Right? And I'm just like, nah, different people like different things based on how they've grown, right, through life, right?
And people and like you're saying, people are secretive of what they like.
Right.
So you might think most people do this, but
actually, nah.
yeah,
Right?
you actually just don't know because the doors are closed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is a huge problem because if you think about, I would like to think of it's on a sliding scale of deviancy, right?
Yeah.
For some people, and I know this to be fact, some men will not go down on a person, whomever the person is.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's quite a kinky thing to do. And I only do that with my lifelong married partner.
Right.
Right? And some people, getting the earlobes tickled is a kinky thing, right? And some people, for me, raw bondage is not even a kink, it's a normal part of my sexuality, right? So this othering of other people doesn't make any sense because what's going to be kinky to you is going to be normal to me and vice versa. Oh, actually, maybe we'll match up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Right. But other people would consider as kinky. So I really don't disagree with that classification system.
Right.
And because it makes a point of saying, and you get things like people saying, I only do that with this. She's the person I fuck and do all the nasty shit.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because I'm not gonna marry her.
Yeah.
Right. It creates this idea there's a moral version of sex and there's a depraved version of sex.
Yes.
That I reserve this one for a certain kind of nonsense person and this one for the wife or the partner.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. So often that comes from, or in my experience, it can be everyone, but I see a lot in straight guys as well, right? Including myself, right? To some extent, I still do some of those things and catch myself doing them, but I still have this hectic number of conversations with men that see sex in what I think is a very unusual way, right? Quite a challenging way to see sex and exist in a sexual context. So for argument's sake, if you talk about anal sex, right, the first thing most people think about is a man having sex with another man.
Oh, really?
Right.
That's not the first thing I think about. Is it?
Yeah, a lot of people. Or actually, rather, if I say, do you have anal sex, right?
Yeah.
For most straight men, it would be, yes, I have anal sex, and by that I mean I
With
put
a
my dick
woman.
inside a woman.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're talking the other way around, okay, then I have to think about it as just two men. I can't think about it as me having anal sex, but I'm there on the receiving end.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Right.
see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I feel
right?
you. Yeah.
So if I'm saying a man is having anal sex, they must only be having anal sex in a very specific conformation.
Yes.
Right? Or two specific conformations. With another man or with a woman who's receiving.
Who's receiving? Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I've been trying to figure out why this is the case for the longest time. And I personally think it's because the way we see sex as a people, right? A lot of it is based on heterosexual sex.
Right.
Right. Even if you're not in a heterosexual context, often people carry along those power dynamics and those systems. Like there must be
Who's
a top
the
and a
man?
bottom.
Yeah.
Who's the man? Who's the
in it?
woman? Yeah. You
Top
know.
and bottom. Yeah.
And who's doing the thing and who's receiving the thing, right? But I'm like, no, hang on. Sex should be, unless you discuss that we want to explore a power dynamic, it should be a sort of power neutral space, right? We're just exchanging pleasure, right? In whatever shape or form it looks like. I'm enjoying this, you're enjoying this. Great, right? But a lot of the men I've spoken to view sex as something they do to someone.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of the women I've spoken to who have sex with men is view it as something that gets done to them.
Yeah.
Right. So you get fucked or you get to the fucking.
Right.
Right. And so then if you exploring anal sex, right, as a guy, you get to do anal sex to someone. Right. So next time she's like, okay, I got a strap on. Are you keen? Right? You're like, nah. I would never do that, right? For one is that sort of internalized homophobia kind of vibe. I think, but on the other side is this idea that you're very aware what you do when you are fucking someone.
Yeah.
Why would I let someone do that to me? Right? Suddenly you must do it to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, right? And I think we're very aware of what we do to the other person, right? Instead of this neutral exchange of power. So the page is trying to encourage conversation around sex and redefining what sex can look like, right? What do you even consider sex? So for me, from the moment we're kissing, we're having sex, right? And sometimes you can even have sex without being in the same room, right? You can have sex by yourself. You can have sex over the internet. You can do all sorts of amazing things, right? And the things some people consider foreplay, right? I consider that part of sex. So like going down on a person or whatever. What I consider foreplay is me going to cut my nails, or taking a shower, or making you a meal, or that's foreplay, right? That's got nothing to do with the actual final act itself, right? But then also, if you look at sex, we often consider it as a goal-oriented experience. We must get to the orgasm. That's where we're going, right?
That's the mecca.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, have we had sex, right? And it puts a lot of pressure on everyone involved, right? So from the receiver's end, right, they have to perform this. Oh, you got me there, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, your ego is gonna be hurt about it, right? Or however, you're gonna not have a good time with it, right? And I'm like, nah. If you enjoy the entire experience, right, even if you don't get to the orgasm, it doesn't matter, right? That's just one of the many stops along the way. But you could stop at kissing, first base, second base, whatever, blah, 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 and still have a great time and walk away. And this idea that, oh, now I have blue balls, no, but you left me hanging, blah, 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 right? That's nonsense, right? Because you're looking at sex as just purely an orgasm.
Yeah.
And the rest is a chore you have to do to get to the orgasm.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I have
right?
to.
I have to do this.
Yeah, well.
My jaw is tight. Right. So if we re-examine how we consider, how we view sex and what we consider a sexual act and what's the point of it, right? We can start changing how we interact with other human beings around that experience, right? And this idea that for me, sex is just another thing that I can share with a human being. We can go have a coffee together. We can go skiing together. We can blah, blah, blah together, right? But for some people, for a lot of people, it's an intimate thing that means this connection is deepening, right? And so for some reason, we're no longer having sex as a couple, right? It means our relationship is in jeopardy. We've lost an aspect of a relationship. And I'm like, to me, it's not that important.
You reckon?
Yeah, for me, it's my relationship will still be just as good.
Are you talking about with your girlfriend or with a friend?
With anyone. Like, if sex is a thing that changes a person from a friend to a girlfriend, I don't want no part in it.
Okay.
I don't want a part in it. Because if the rest of it is nonsense, but you're having the sex, it's...
But you'd think it'd be a combination of all those things.
It's
right?
all the other factors, right?
Yeah.
But that's one of the least important ones, right? If we remove that one from the equation and I still value as a human being, then we're good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If we remove that from the equation, then I ghost on you and then we're no longer talking. Clearly, it's just about sex. Right. And again, you're better off not having that friendship. Right. Because it was based on that particular thing. Unless you understood our friendship is based on sex.
On that. And when that ends, then we're done.
It's over.
Basically.
Yeah. Right.
Fair enough.
That's a different thing. You talked about it. You negotiated around it.
Yeah.
You established boundaries around it.
Yeah.
Right. We're friends for now whilst we're having sex.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
We're friends because.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Okay. And just because we're having sex and that's the base of a friendship doesn't mean I have to be a shit human being to you. Like, okay, your Ubers, you get out. That kind of stuff. Right. Because people then, oh no, I don't want him to catch feelings. I don't want him to catch feelings, so you must be cold and distant to this person, right? Because we see sex as such an important aspect. If you are nice to the person after or around sex, it implies something deeper is happening, right? I'm like, nah, just treat them like a human being, right? If you have supper with a person, as soon as supper is done, you're like, get the fuck out. That's still a weird thing to do, right?
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
It's a strange thing to do. Often you go to a bride, that's what happens though, right?
Yeah.
You spend the whole day waiting for that bride. As soon as you chow, you bounce.
Yeah.
That's a dick thing to do, which is why people delay that part of the bride. Because they want to keep you there having a good time. Because they know your ass is full, you're satisfied, you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You're out, right? And people often treat sex like that. They just like get what they need, get the vibe, and
bounce.
Call your Uber, they bounce, sneak out, ghost, whatever. So it's this idea of conquering a person and conquering this act. And I found a thing, right? Which, it's a difficult thing, right? So I think we need to examine some of those things a little bit, right? And this reminds me, a few days ago, I was added to a WhatsApp group, right? And by we, I think I'm speaking from a male, from a...
Sorry.
voice.
It's buzzing a bit. Okay, it's fine.
You'll fix it in post.
It's good now. It's
Oh,
good.
okay. So from my lived experience as a straight cisgender dude,
Right.
who also is black,
Yes.
right, and a lot of the friends that I have are not men, right? My squad, if you try to put it in those terms, there isn't a single dude in that squad,
Okay.
right? But actually, I don't really believe in squads in any case. I normally do one-on-one time with people. So you never see me do an event where I've invited like 3 of my friends. That's outrageous. At the most, I have like 2 people there because I like that one-on-one kind of connection.
Okay.
I don't really like these massive things because then they can foster a certain environment that's not necessarily good for you. All right. But if you have one person, maybe you have a fucked up relationship, the other person can balance it out, other person can balance it out. But if you all now suddenly have the same fucked up relationship, that can really fuck up your life. And you get this sort of this echo chamber kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Right? That's really reinforced by like 5 other people, 10 other people. So squads, they're a difficult thing for me. But in any case, I was added to a WhatsApp group from by people from my old boarding school in high school. I went to an all boys school.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I had been added to it before and I left it like a day later. Because as expected, the conversation is only about sending memes or sending naked women and talking about really crude things about these women, right? It's very misogynistic kind of space, right? And it's the boys' club, so the boys with the boys kind of vibes, that kind of stuff. So I normally just leave.
And it's like messages all day long.
Yeah, bruh. And the group's the capacity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're to kick someone out to let me in.
I wonder who that guy was.
We've got like an old phone number that someone shared or something, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of dudes in there.
Yeah.
Because our stream alone was maybe 200 dudes, right? But the other people from different streams or graduation years, whatever you want to call it, right? So the first thing I asked them was like, why am I in this group, right?
Fair question.
Yeah, right. Who added me and why have you added me, right? And
Which is another thing about WhatsApp. I feel like you should be invited to a group and you should be able to decline.
Yeah.
Because now it creates an awkward
must
situation.
leave.
Yeah. Now you look like, oh, look at that dick leaving again. Like I left a family group. Right? Got re-added. Hey, you're not gonna leave. I'm just like, oh man.
Can never leave the clan. You come back to the clan. Yeah. So you send me a private message like, listen, I want to add you to this group. Are you okay with it? That's a basic thing about consent, right? Whatever activities, because we like to think consent is a sexual thing, right? But consent is throughout life.
Just that the sexual thing has
greater implications,
exactly,
I suppose.
exactly.
Or more like
it's
damaging
more
implications.
dire consequences that can result in
often,
exactly,
right. But as with anything, right, we take people's consent for granted. Now you've added me to WhatsApp group, and I have no interest in.
And you have and it's their right for you to stay.
Yeah, right.
You're not
You're
going
old.
anyway.
Yeah. So they added me, and
Right.
so I asked them like, okay, what's the point? Why did you add me, right? Because they added me, and then like for 2 hours I'm just like seeing nonsense, right? And I'm like, nah, right. So then I asked before I left, right? They're like, oh, we had questions about your rope bondage stuff. Like, what's that about? I was like, oh, just send me a bunch of questions and I'll respond in more sort of a comprehensive response to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the obvious questions were like things like, are you having sex with all these people? Why did you get into it? How can I get into it so I can get into some of this good sex? Are you straight, right? Because obviously they've seen dudes that I've tied up as well, right? So clearly I'm tying up dudes. Or he's tying up a lot of women. He must be gay, right? Otherwise, why would women be comfortable with him?
Exactly.
Right?
And he says it's not smashing.
Yeah, right. So he's definitely gay, right? Right. So these are all like
and this is a boys' school in Zim, so you know
where it's coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
The background is hectic.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
in rural Zimbabwe,
Kutama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these questions are coming through, right? And instead of responding from a place of, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, I just like laid out, okay, here's my account of why I'm doing this work, right? And why I think it's important to do this work and to engage with these kind of questions, right? So I explained why I don't have sex with the people, right? Because Oh, and the other question was like, do you get erections as well? What do you do when you get blue balls? And I'm like, if you think about it as a job you're doing, and then not a job in the mundane way of doing a job, but a job as in I'm here to provide a service, right? What business does your erection have there, right? A tattoo artist is not out here tattooing naked people and getting erections, or unless you and that person or those people have invited that energy into that space.
Yeah.
You've navigated and you're like, listen, if it takes a sexual turn, great.
Or unless you're just an inappropriate dude.
Yeah, right. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
We have this idea that the moment I'm naked with the person, the moment I'm intimate with the person, sex must follow, right? And you are responsible for fixing my blue balls,
Right.
right? That's
The same for free.
Yeah, right. So this is the thing that people project because of how they view sex, right? Like the idea of like going to the movies and like you fondling each other in the cinema as a teenager, right? And afterwards we must go to handle this problem because now I got blue balls, and you're grumpy if it doesn't happen, and it's a whole fucking thing, right? So I'm like, nah, I don't have sex with these people because that's not what it's about, right? And that would be a very abusive way of approaching it as well, right? If I know people are likely to be in the mood for sex, and then I'm like, let's just go with the flow, but we've pre-established that we're not going to have sex, that's a fucked up situation, right? Because it's like someone who's drunk, right? This person is drunk with this experience, and it really can feel like that for some people. People go to very different space. They're not necessarily in the room with you anymore in that sense. They're not rational anymore, right? So it's very easy to say, oh yeah, we just like stumbled into it, right? But it's my job to be there and be the responsible part, no matter what this person ends up doing, right? They've entrusted their safety and well-being into my hands, right? Quite literally, right? They could be tied up, and things with the wrong person, things can go really, really south, right? And they're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And so, how do you get these people to trust you, right? And I'm like, not about getting people to trust you; it's about you being genuine about why you're there, right? Yeah, I'm not trying to
what
buy
are your techniques?
Yeah. Like, give me your top 5 points. What is the best way in the shortest amount of time
for someone to trust you?
Asking for a friend, right? So I'm like, if your intentions are genuine, people pick up on it. If they're not, they pick up on it, right? And even if my intentions are genuine and you still don't feel like you trust me, then you should be in that space. I always tell people, we're going to do this together with wholehearted engagement, right? Because people imagine if you're being tied up, you're just there as a limp body being tied up.
Yeah.
Like, now you're an active participant. You have to decide, do you want music in the space? Are you going to curate the playlist? Do you want incense burning? Do you want what time of day? Do you want to be naked? Do you want to be dressed a certain way? You want to be wearing your onesie? What do you want to? What are you hoping to get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to make art? Do you want to celebrate your body? Do you want to feel nice things? Do you want to get a nice warm hug from the rope? Do you just want to forget some bullshit in your life? Why are you here, right? Because that can determine where we're going, or it can determine if I wanted to work with you as well, right? Because some people try to use it as a therapy, right? Which it can work if it's part of actual therapy.
Yeah.
Right. You're still doing other therapeutic things. You're still seeing a professional. But to come to me and say, fix all my problems by time, that's not a healthy vibe.
You've got it. That's another problem you have right there.
Right. Yeah. Right. So if you're genuine about why we're doing this, why this experience is happening, and by genuine, I mean I talk to people on end about it before we even get to the point we're doing this thing. About maybe 3-4 weeks. We schedule a date in August. We start talking now. Like every other day, I'm like, oh yeah. Have you any more thoughts? Why do you want to do this?
Okay.
Right. And because it's so public, or at least a lot of people I've worked with who are okay with their photos being shared, right? You can DM that person. I'm like, listen, what was your experience with Tapio? Right? Or you DM the other person. Maybe this one has a biased experience. I DM, right? And I can confidently say, DM whom the fuck you want to DM, or ask whomever I've worked with. And at the very least, they'll be neutral about me.
Right.
And that experience, I won't have negative things to say about my conduct. Right. Maybe they just didn't like rope work. It's not for them, right? That's not a reflection of me. That's just
that's not
like
on you.
work.
That's just
right. So they're like, oh, okay. So now you can start to kind of sense like there's disappointment in the room. You get the feeling like, okay, these are not the answers we were expecting, right? And then obviously I did a thing with Moonchild a few weeks ago, right? And okay, did you smash Moonchild? I'm like, nah.
Who's
Again,
Moonchild?
Moonchild Sandile, she's like a South African musician.
Oh, okay.
You know the woman, she's got this blue hair thing.
I think I saw a picture of it. I just didn't know
Yeah.
she was actually famous.
Yeah, sure, she's a com musician.
Ah.
Yeah, among other genres, but I think she would identify as a com musician.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. So everyone's like, oh, nice, with celebrities, blah, 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 right? So they're really, did you smash, bro?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, this is just another human being. Exact same process I went through with her. And if she was being bullshit, I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. If this is good, it's just another human being. Okay, cool, right? Okay, what about threesome? So now they're really comfortable now. Now they're asking questions about the shit they really wanted to get to now, right? Because someone opened the floodgates. One guy was brave enough and asked like 7 questions. And then now suddenly everyone's now a new question.
Trickle in.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just another sexual act, right? It just so happens it involves more than 2 people, right? And now the things that you have to consider for sex with yourself still apply. Sex with someone else still applies, right? But now there's an additional layer of sexual health now, right? In terms of like disease transmission, right?
Yeah.
If you're wearing one condom between 2 people, obviously that's a problem.
It's good for you, but not for the other
two people,
Yeah.
right? And it's not automatic for everyone to think like that, right? Because I'm still wearing the condom, so condoms are safe. I'm like, no, that's no longer safe sex, right? Even like going down on one person, then going down on the other person, right? It is possible to transmit fluids, right? If in your hands, fingers, toys, whatever, you must always be changing barriers the whole time, right? So if you are terrible at stage 1 and 2, right? And this is not in terms of rank of experience, but just like solo, partner, multiple partners, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to change by including multiple partners,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't enjoy sex, the other 2 ways, I don't know if this will improve it either, right? So it has to be something that you do because it's just a different kind of sex you want to have, not because you want better sex. Yeah. It's just like, oh, yesterday I had toast, today I want French toast instead, right? It's still about I want to have some food.
Yes.
Right? Versus, oh no, I had rye bread yesterday, I need to have a brioche today.
Yeah.
To one up the day. Nah. Because again, now you're now sort of commodifying the experience and the people in that experience as opposed to just an exchange of pleasure. Right. So I'm like, yeah, you need to consider everyone's safety. And I know like in a group setting, like if you're having like a mosam, which is like more than 3 people, right? Sometimes you can even have people in that space who don't have sex at all. They're just there to make sure things are flowing well and looking out for people's sexual health and sexual hygiene and make sure no one gets abused in that space, right? So they're just there, they're enjoying the show and they're having a good time, right? But they're not that lost in the sauce as much as everyone in that puddle is, right? So they're like, oh, no, hang on, you didn't change that condom. Or do you want some water? Or you look a bit woozy, right? Just looking out for the vibe, because the vibe can take over. It can become like a little hive of fun, right? I was like, oh, so then I answered that. And then
These niggas are probably like, this nigga's wasting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wasted opportunities,
right? So, okay, then they asked about the monogamy thing, right? And I was like, yeah. So for me, I think we spoke about this last time I was here, but I'm a generalist, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right? So I was like, yeah, so my sex is also generalist kind of sex. And I believe as long as you are open, transparent, and respectful around sex with multiple partners, for the most part, it should be okay to navigate that kind of environment, right? Obviously, human beings are human beings. It's difficult to have a perfect situation, even if it's just you and your partner.
Yeah, in any situation,
right?
It's very difficult.
If there's another human being depending on you and you depending on them, they're gonna be some fucking shit. Yeah, right? So I'm like, yeah, the idea of just having one sexual partner is not for me, right? And I tell that to any potential sexual, I'm like, listen, if we're gonna have sex, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, which is almost 0. I like everything. Right? But also know that there are other people who are currently involved and in the future may be involved and in the future may no longer be involved, right? And then you establish parameters. Would you like to know? No, I wouldn't like to know. I wouldn't like to share. Just know that there's someone. Oh, actually, no, I would love to meet that person. Maybe you're in a relationship, you're dating, and you want to meet that other person. sometimes those people can actually be friends, right? I know of people where there's one person in the middle who's dating. So person A is dating person B. Person A is also dating person C. But A and C are not dating. Or B and C, sorry, are not dating at all. But they know each other. They can live together and be best buds. But romantically, they're not interested in each other at all. All right. So that's just a different way of living your life and experiencing your sex, right? You can just be like, yeah, nah, that's not for me. This is for me. That's for me. That's for me. That's for me, right? But we take it for granted that what I believe around sex is what you're going to believe, what they're going to believe around sex, right? So there's a universal definition of sex, and that's all everyone is having, and that's nowhere near the truth, right? So you gotta approach each interaction as if you don't know anything about sex, because you're having sex for the first time with that person, okay? Listen, when we say we're gonna have sex, what are your expectations, right? Are we gonna stop at a certain point? Are you okay with a finger up your butt? Yeah. Are you okay with me? You know, some things obviously get better with time, and you can kind of read each other better, or you have a conversation around like, listen, I'm game for everything, right? And if I'm not in the moment, I just tell you no, I don't want, right? Which so that's like the easiest kind of version of events where, and I quite like that when you know someone that well, where you can just tell them do what the hell you want, because you trust and you know that they would never take it beyond a reasonable extent, right? But that's a very difficult ask, right? And I've never abused that situation, and I've never been abused in that kind of context when I've been that close to the person and be like, yeah, let's go, right? But if you think you're going to try some really wild things, even though you have that consent, maybe a good idea is like, listen, what do you think about this? Yeah. Oh, shit, yeah! Right? Let's do it. And then you go for it, right? So it's never a bad idea to check in, right? In fact, I encourage you to always check in any case, right? Because then people then apply this to any and everyone, then it doesn't work out every single time. But I know some people where throughout the entirety of that experience, we had sort of given each other permission, and no one ever felt violated by that person. Yeah. And no one ever actually said, nah, stop, now this is not a vibe, right? In that context, right? And then sometimes people tell you, actually, no, this is not a vibe. And don't now bring your ego into it and, like, no, it's not a vibe, stop the vibe. And it's not to say, let's stop having sex. Let's, specifically right now, I'm not enjoying this. Actually, specifically right now, I don't want to have sex at all. Maybe in an hour's time. Specifically right now, maybe let's actually cancel this road trip. Let's go back home. I'm not keen. Yeah. The vibe is not, I'm in a different space, right? And that ties nicely like into like having sex with someone in their period. Yeah. Right? For some people, including people on their period, is a big no-no. Like, yeah, it just feels uncomfortable. I don't feel my best. I feel bloated. I'm gassy. I don't want to do that. It's already painful. Now you want to add this to the mix. Nah, it's dirty. You have to put a towel down, right? And then the person who's not on the period is also like, yeah, no, that's fucking gross, right? And okay, if you feel that way, that's fine, right? But you shouldn't then say people who have sex on their period are doing some nasty shit, right? Yeah. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do and they're comfortable. They've thought about it. And again, the sexual health, so that now there's another body fluid involved, right? That you have to be aware of. And you take care of that as well, right? If everybody's all good, go to town.
Let's do it.
Right? And if people are not keen, don't do it. Simple, straightforward.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. So I started this page as a robe page to celebrate art and create art with robe and people's bodies. But it's like morphed into this really powerful thing that's, I think, doing some good in the world.
It's almost like a movement in a way.
I
think that
it fits in with other people who are doing similar work for sure. Yeah, 100%. Because suddenly you now are a lot more aware of those kind of people because of people like, oh, have you seen this person's work? Yes. It ties in a lot of what you're doing. And you're like, oh, wow. Then you expand your view and you keep expanding what the work can actually do. Yeah. You know, and I remember working with someone who hadn't been intimate with someone for a few years. And we did a robe session, which was intimate, but it wasn't sexual. And it was almost like a buffer that allowed her to start exploring intimacy with someone of no consequence, right? Like, they can be vulnerable with me and then just walk away because there's no cost to it for them, right? They just like leave,
Yeah.
I'm not quote unquote owed their time, right?
Right.
And then after that, then she pursued someone actively and started dating someone after like a long hiatus of not dating at all.
Interesting.
Right? Because they were struggling with intimacy around human beings.
Yeah.
Especially because they associate intimacy with familiarity. So they would only be intimate with someone they really are comfortable with. Right? So they took a chance on this person and then it worked out. If I really find that person, then it's going to be great. Or hopefully. Yeah, so that page has done some really nice things.
And this is Sunga Konji on Instagram. So all of those, if everyone wants to check it out, I suggest you just check it out, see what's happening there. So it's on Instagram at Sunga Konji. So that's spelled SUNGA KONJI. Sunga Konji on Instagram. Is it also on Facebook or just Instagram?
Just on Instagram.
Instagram,
Just
yeah.
Instagram, yeah.
Just check out the Instagram, and if you dig what he's doing, just give him a follow. And if you do want to check, like, do it actually, if you're in Cape Town, Stellenbosch.
Actually, I should give you some details about that.
Okay.
Right. So how it works at the moment is if you want to do an artistic expression kind of collaboration where we're doing something for the gram.
Yes.
Right. That's for free. That's you and I are partners in that experience. I happen to take the photos and do the rope, but you showing up as an equal participant, and you're doing your chunk of labor, I'm doing my chunk of labor, right? The photos belong to the both of us. I don't really believe in owning art in any case. So the photos come out of it, you get a Google Drive folder, you take them there for yours.
basically.
Yeah, right, yeah. If you want more of like a solo private space, then that I charge people for.
Okay.
Because it involves me. There's a lot that goes into it, right? Beyond the finances. So it's the rope maintenance, my time driving around on the bike maintenance, getting new rope every other time, washing the rope between people. It all builds up. But also I'm performing a hectic emotional job,
Yeah.
right? And it would be nice to get paid for it, right? Otherwise I'm just giving myself out all the time and it's draining, right? Something needs to balance me, and sometimes money is a nice little thing to see an appreciation of that effort.
Yeah.
And then I also do, like, if you want to set up like a boudoir shoot with you and your partner or whatever, and I just come in and I do the rope work for you, and then the two of you
Do your thing.
take your photos, also great. And I also do private classes if you want to learn how to do rope work, that you can also learn and you pay. And I'm part of a collective of people called Ropey Things, where we do workshops once every month or twice a month, depending on demand. And you can learn from people who know what they're doing. Because it's a very dangerous thing to do if you're just blindly doing it. Or I don't like saying, not blindly, that's ableist. If you're just like winging it, right? It's a very terrible thing to do. So learn from someone who knows about it in person, someone whose CV you can check out, like, what have they done? Ask some people, is this person safe to work with? Blah, 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 blah. So don't just go and get some rope and tie people up, because people can die. Or you can do nerve damage and all sorts of other things. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So if you want a collaboration, slide in the DMs.
Yeah. Slide in the DM. Sunga Konji on Instagram. All right. Got to wrap this up. Thanks for joining me again, brother. Again, Instagram handles has got Tappy. So that's @_Tappy_Tappy on Instagram. That's his cuisine, ice cream type of stuff. It's good stuff. Check him out. And Sunga Konji, like I said. But as far as this episode is concerned, this is Amateur Opinions, the podcast. Opinions brought to you by amateurs. Thank you for joining me. Peace out.